In a perfect world, I would build an EA that could I could instruct to trade based on the colors. And if this EA would know what to do, I can see that it would probably have a problem. This is the 15-minute gold chart. I can see a lot of issues here as far as describing to the robot, okay, what do you do now? What do I do now? That I think is, or you could just use it as a visual aid. You don't have to run an EA. I guess if you, this is like a visual overbought and oversold. But when it goes overbought like this, this is when people with oscillators, if they're selling into a peaking oscillator, would certainly get wiped out. But if you have a script that you're running because it's that color, you're going to get chopped here when it goes to that color. If you're a strict rule set, if you told the computer blindly, just hit the buy button anytime it's like this because you're an uptrend. You have tight stops, but it would have to be a stop and reverse bot because it would have to come in, or you have a contrarian script running. Even though this is going up, you have self stops built in, and maybe you pick them up here on the top. I don't know if it's possible to really build an EA to do that. It's probably better to look at the chart, go to the half hour, and see on the half hour you'd have to really be buying for a 2 hour. You'd have to build a position for 2 hours. And see, this is the thing. You could be a scalper. You could load into this, load into that, scalp out. Don't take your pedal off the profit. Just hold that trade until you get your first blue. You're not selling the exact top, but if you just do a smooth Heikin-Ashi system, maybe you're short during this blue. Of course, they're kind of ruining your trade because they're pulling it back. So I put a one period moving average on top so I can capture the structural issues where this bottom becomes a top on the half hour. This to me is, in a combination with just good old trend lines, if you need a filter to keep yourself out of the woods, keep your ball out of the woods or off the neighbor's broken glass window that you just took out, this is a great way to go. Look at this killer confluence, this top to this top on the half hour gold. This is a massive structured trend line, and from a trigger point entry signal entry, this is probably, if you get your sizing right and maximize, you're still going to need to put hand placed orders in here. You can't just like shotgun this. I guess you should never shotgun it. Like, you wouldn't want anybody to you wouldn't go to the store and get one size fits all clothing all day long. So you really do want to custom fit all your placements and do the analysis of just the crude, all these resistance guys. But this is certainly not going to last forever. This nice drift up here, it's going to have to be a little battle coming into the next week here on gold. And certainly half hour views, a real, if you're going to stick with a mechanical system, right now you're long. Or you're buying right here, right? You're buying on the edge of this wick window. This is, if you chop the close to the wicks, that would be your, if you've been trading this from the long side, after the big collapse this morning. But certainly this, you can make a ton of money on this half hour chart. Now, gold on the half hour, and using Heikin-Ashi Smooth as your filter, and you can build all these layers and all the colors you want here all day long. So it really is like building your own visual aid, instant recognition. You can obviously see that when it's blue, it's going down in case you or it's a smooth version of going down, because the line really is in agreement with the blue here. The white line down, in agreement, and then we're in disagreement. So the disagreement, if it cues to a last known structure point, I think it's better to load hard there, ride it to here, or even ride it just to here. So if your stop was in, so you could actually scale into this. So as we're marching up, you have sell limits that never got filled. That's the problem with when the market really accelerates. If you had a sell limit here, it never got filled. Probably not. So to put wider stops and make smaller positions here, you're getting on stops. You've also put limits in, but your limit coverage is here. Your stops are stacking up here. And the more that it goes up, the more you come in on it tight. You keep putting in stops as if you're protecting a long position. If you're thinking of stop entry, because stop entry, one guy's insurance policy is your money maker. So if you are a stop entry person, that it's a whole different psychology, because that is confirmation and entry. That's true confirmation entry, because it's filling into you. The other approach is that you put the sell limits in. I think ideally you're trading on 3 entry, diversification of entry by 3 entry styles. 3 ways to get in the market. It's not really trading styles, because I guess in a way it is, but if you say that I'm trading MACD crossovers and a trend trader, I mean, trend trading is considered a style possibly, or swing trading. So in those things, but even if you were to say sell here and buy here, and this is obviously going to be the big volume thing, but you don't have to hold. If you see this obvious climax, you don't have to hold that position. You either got to stop here and you held the whole thing, or you got to stop here and you got out of some and you had some here, or you just. The nice thing about this is that there's so many ways to play this. This is a bottomless pit. Like, get in on when it goes into the alternate color after going for a long series of this. And if you could tell an EA that, it'd be great. Tell some robot to do that. It'd be wonderful. Every time you see a couple hiccups, get in. Here, you're going to get burned. But that's just natural. But if you're doing the combination of momentum with just drawing trend lines on this thing. So that's all set up for next week. But unfortunately, you have to be long, and trend trading is a really boring way to just chug out a few pips, and this is way more exciting to either have sold up here and waiting for it to plunge back into the last known uptrend line, or you sold up here, you got out here, you sold again, you got out here. You could play it all the way down, and when you do get out here and go flat, say you took profits here, and when it goes up, you've got limits or you've got stops trailing. Stops start stacking up, whoosh. Then you cover, or you get stopped out because your robot tightened down here. You cover, but you know you could come up here and hit the half hour button. You have half hour of this color, you're looking at the chart, hit it. Look at that beautiful rhythm. 3 bangs, then that's over. The ride's over. And all I had to do, all it really was a beautiful symmetrical drift back into this thing. So it reminds me of a ship going out to sea. I don't know why it looks like a ship to me, because I guess these are floating currencies, so it's kind of this kind of weird correlation. Or this is actually gold, but all markets are floating. I mean, everybody's constantly trying to get a price that makes sense. Here's a great on the half hour, just structured trading it, breakout, find support, and your blue, which means blue, any blue after a bunch of green or whatever that is, orange, in a small range, definitely a great entry point. Then we just switched the 1 hour from this thing. We're going to take out some of the entry possibilities, and I would say reduce your size, but same amount of money. And here you can get a feel for how a robot could really be destroyed if you just gave him blank instructions. Once you combine this trend line with the smooth Heikin-Ashi, and it's actually showing you zones. If you consider that when this thing switches color like that, and you cover that range into the future, give it more of the range, and so these small ones are really a big deal because they translate out. This is the triangle is always going to be when you get small candles, and that becomes the big contention point. Of course, they went and blew this thing out. A lot of stop entry was fueled. If you're watching this thing on a small time frame, as you cut through the larger area here, you can see a big burst, and yeah, a lot of people just get the hell out there and take the money and run, because once you clip this thing, it's like trap them, pull them back, and then go for it. And they just nicked that. It's like a nick trap thing. But yeah, it's looking a little bit too optimistic for gold, possibly. It's always possible, but if you're going to filter out to the and then of course if you go to the 4 hour, it's going to smash this thing to pieces, unfortunately. Wish they had a 2 hour chart. But this thing looks like it's ready to climb out of this hole, and well, I guess we already climbed out, so this was the big closing price to clear, and we just cleared that. Had to clear this guy here, which corresponds to this big wick here, so this would have been the place to have the buy limits, and also right there. So looking left on the 4 hour, you could set orders here that last quite a bit of time. See, this is one of those set it and forget it trades. You have an order there, you may not get it filled. It's pretty snug there. Gold looks like it's smart. It's hunting down this monthly trend line. So this was the monthly trend line to beat. Jeez, I gotta delete some stuff here. This is the trend line to beat. Okay. Yeah, we're marching up on this thing, so right up against it. Problem is this bottom, but this is actually I was doing this earlier on charts, getting in like that, is that in auction theory, if it goes through this hard and comes back, forget about it. We're going through this trend line so hard, and that probably take gold up to about well, everybody's going to be bailing here, right, at 1553. But yeah, that's some kind of thing happening there. Otherwise, it's going to stall out and fade away here, and it's going to hold that trend line. But I don't think that's going to happen now. Looking at the smaller time frame, the weekly, same trend line, just about to cut through. And if we reject this, if this resistance that was support does not hold, like it was a perfect world here, because right on the weeklies we got the perfect pivot. I mean, yeah, the weekly right here, from this to that, perfect. But they're gonna sneak it. They're sneaking it across the border now. Forgot it. If only for a ride up into here. If only for a scalper stab to the last zone here, this target, which coincides with this. It's 1200, you know. A couple bucks, $2 under 1200. Not a big. Obviously, 1200 is psychological. But I guess it's all about how long you're in these things in the end. Here's the 1 hour. But yeah, I like this. Heikin-Ashi's a kick. It's a hoot. Gold market. Nice and smooth. Yeah, it's pretty.